Ever since Gorilla Tag came out, it's been seen as a pretty competitive game. After all, the game is last man standing tag and the game is very immersive. But there's a problem. The problem is that people are getting too good at the game. Back a long time ago, wall running was seen as really difficult, and now most people can do it. Nowadays you see people that can just Lucia run around the whole map and people that can vertical up the entire wall in like half a second. But that's creating a huge problem. Let me explain. So the first thing I want to talk about is the comp course. The comp course is that little parkour map inside the city. The point of the comp course is to unlock competitive queue. The reason for that is so people that just got the game can't play in competitive lobbies. So the really good players play against people that are also really good. But there's a problem. The problem is that the comp course is just too easy now. The comp course was made quite a while ago. It was made in a time when only good players could actually wall run and get past the course. But nowadays, even pretty new players are learning how to wall run pretty fast, and it's becoming a problem. So the problem that makes is the skill ceiling. The problem is coming from the fact that some people are really good and can like Lucia run across the whole map, and some people can hardly wall run, but they'll both be in competitive. So now players that are really good can't play with people that are on similar skill levels anymore, because now it's super easy to get into comp. And now another problem is coming from that because players that just got comp see these players that are really good and think they're hacking. Because anyone on PC could get hacks that'll let them Lucia run across the whole map. But most of the time they're actually just that good at the game. And yet the really good players still get banned for being too good because people think they're hacking. But even if we got a new comp course, there's still another problem. Toxicity. Something that's been around in Gorilla Tag since it came out. But I'll talk more about that in a second. But first let me explain something else. So back a few months ago, I made a video about Gorilla Tag Smurfs. Basically, that's just players that are really good going into default lobbies and playing with a bunch of new players. Which obviously is unfair for the new players because they're playing against really good players. And the match will just last for like 30 minutes, until they eventually get tagged. I made a video about it because there's so many Smurfs. But every time I ask them why they're in a default lobby instead of a competitive, they always give me a really interesting answer. They say it's because competitive lobbies are too toxic, and the default lobbies aren't nearly as toxic. And I've played in competitive lobbies, I can confirm that it's way more toxic in there. I understand why they want to avoid the toxicity, but that's kind of a bad way of doing it. Because now new players are going to be discouraged because they're playing against super good players and they feel like they're never getting good. And they're always just getting destroyed, which makes less new players want to play the game and making it die. Because then people are instantly going to be turned away from the game. The problem with this is that there's not really a solution for it. Because if one player is being toxic and everyone's getting really mad at them, then one click of the button on their headset and they're all gone, and they'll never meet them ever again. So anyone can just say whatever they want, and then they can just turn off their headset and they'll never see those people ever again and get in any trouble. Because chances are, they'll also be gone before they even get reported. Once again, there's not really a solution to it. Like, there's a reason that Gorilla Tag is not the only game with toxicity in it. Because it's impossible to moderate a game that much. Because in other games like Rocket League, if someone's being toxic, it's all on a chat log. Because most times they're not actually talking to each other. But it saves everything they say in chat. And you can report them for it, and the game can read the chat log. And if they said something really bad, then they will get banned for it. But you can't do that with voice chat. It just depends on if you report them in time. And the third problem is hackers. Like I said, there are players that are really good that aren't hacking, but sometimes they actually are hackers. But it's really hard to tell the difference unless they accidentally pull out their mod menu or something, and you see them pressing buttons. And people can use hacks in pretty unnoticeable ways, like getting a slight speed boost, or just having a mod that'll help them stick to walls. As long as you're on PC, it's so easy to get hacks, so that's why it's a problem. Like, there's not really anything you can do about modders. You just have to find a lobby without any. This is the more difficult part though. What's the solution? There's not a solution for everything, but there's a way to fix some of this. The first is to make another comp course. And when I say that, I don't mean change the current one, I mean make another one. Like, have two. So we have like default, intermediate, and competitive. Intermediate course would be the same, but the comp course would be more difficult. And just for fun, I made my own version of the comp course that's more difficult. Here it is. I haven't made it into a custom map yet, but I will. Also, that would be copying someone's video. As you can see, this is just a render now, but I'm probably going to make it into a custom map. So basically, we should add an intermediate level. Now, toxicity is the hard part, because like I said, there's not really a way to fully moderate it, because there's no way of logging what people say in-game, and I feel like that'd be kinda creepy if it logged every single thing you say. Once again, the best solution I can think of is just hire more mods. But they're always hiring new moderators, but there's just more and more people joining the game. You can tell that Gorilla Tag's trying to fix the toxicity problem, because they just recently added a new feature called Auto Mod. Basically, it'll automatically mute someone if they're muted by a lot of people. I think it's a pretty smart idea, but once again, you don't want to overkill and just mute people that aren't doing anything wrong. You can choose how strict it is though, and I think it's a pretty good feature. And the third thing that needs to be fixed is hackers. Hackers are also another pretty difficult thing to fix. There's not really much of a solution to it, but this is the best thing I could think of. And basically, have an anti-cheat that remembers how the files should be, and if the files are misplaced, then monitor them a lot. So say that you put in an illegal mod, but it notices that you have put in another file into the game. Then it'll be more strict on how much you get reported. So if you get reported like twice, you'll get banned, because it knows that there's undetected files. This way, if you put in a camera mod or something like that, something that's allowed, you won't get banned because you can't cheat with it. But if you put in something like a mod menu, and you're using it in public lobbies and you get reported like twice, then you'll get banned. So it'll moderate people with extra files way more heavily. There are problems with that, like I don't even know if it's possible, but maybe someday.